As a creator, there are many ways that you can make money, and you can make money if you have an internet connection and you have a computing device that connects to the internet. So really, anybody who has access to a phone can be a creator. So anybody, anywhere in the world can wake up with no friends, no fans, no followers, no subscribers, and say, I'm gonna start a channel. Before you even think about making money, what are you passionate about?
This is the very first episode of the Visual Creator Podcast, and I am starting this podcast with the best person that I could think of for this type of podcast. Jim Louderback is from LA, Jim?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. So you live close by.
Just south of San Francisco, just a little bit further down the Pacific Ocean.
And I am lucky that Jim was here for the Web Summit in Vancouver, and he found the time to come here to record this podcast. Jim, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's good to be here. And number one, who knew I was number one?
I watched a few podcasts where you are talking, and usually they ask you at the beginning, oh, you have a background in math and tech and programming, and then you explain how you got where you are today. If you don't mind, I would like to skip that.
That's totally fine.
And let's start with one big question. Well, it's actually three. It's the who, how, and how much. Who can make money as a content creator today? How much money can they make it, and how can they make it?
Look, the great thing about creation right now is that YouTube and other networks like that, they democratize the act of distribution. So anybody, anywhere in the world can wake up with no friends, no fans, no followers, no subscribers, and say, I'm gonna start a channel. And nobody gives them permission. They can start it and they can build it. And so really, anybody who has access to a phone can be a creator.
Is it really for anyone?
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. I mean, so the thing is that even no matter what language you speak or where you are, as long as you have the ability to, well, it depends on the type of creator. Like they're video creators, right? So video creators, as long as you have a phone, you can take video. Now, look, I like to think that the most important thing about the video is the audio. So it's nice to have good audio, but you can be a creator by writing. I mean, blogs. The early days of blogs, suddenly you didn't have to go work at a magazine or a newspaper to write. You could just write, and anybody in the world that has an internet connection could get it. So if you have an internet connection and you have a computing device that connects to the internet, you can be a creator.
Let's be honest. Most people want to know, how can you survive being a YouTuber or being a creator? How can people make money, and how much can they make?
Well, here's the thing. There's such a range of different types of content that people do, and such a range of different ways that you can connect with people. So we've got entertainment creators, folks like, I want to watch, I want to be entertained, humor, drama, etc. You've got inspirational creators, inspire me to lose weight or to live a better life or to find Jesus or something like that. And then you have help and how-to creators. So if you think about those three different types of creators, in each of those ways, you can make money. If you're a how-to creator and you're teaching someone how to do something that's complex or where you can make a lot of money or is very valuable, you could have 1,000 people or 100 people really good following you, and they would pay a lot of money just to hear what you have to say. You could be an entertainment creator who's telling jokes and you might not make any money, or you might have a tip jar and somebody gives you $1. So whatever you do as a creator, there are many ways that you can make money, and you can make money. I think anybody can make money. Like, let me give you an example, right? So I'm making content for my family, right? And all I want to do is do this, and only my family gets it. I'm like, I said I'm on camera, and I was like, hey, my wife's name is Kimmy. Hey, Kimmy, give me $1. She gives me $1. I made money because I have one fan. She's my one true fan. She'll give me $1.
So, but what are the basic steps for anybody who wants to be profitable creating content?
Before you even think about making money, what are you passionate about? Because people pay to connect, they pay to be inspired, they pay for passion, any of those three types that I talked about. So what do you want to do? What are you good at? What interests you? Because you may look at it and be like, I want to be like Gary Vee. I want to be inspirational, and I want to do this and that and hustle and bro and all this. But if it's not you and it's not in you, by the time you get to your 100th episode, you're going to be like, oh my God, I hate this stuff so much. Can I please stop doing it? So first of all, you got to figure out what that thing is that you are passionate about, that you like, that you want to talk about, that you want to create about, you want to communicate about. And think about not something I just want to talk about for the next 10 episodes, but what can I talk about for 1,000 episodes? And by the way, it's fine with it's changing, but pick something you really like, because here's something you should try. Go on YouTube, find your favorite creator, and YouTube allows you to go search their videos by oldest to newest. Go look at their first video. Now, some creators have taken all their videos down, and it's like, why did you do that? But there are others you're like the Merrill twins, for example. Great creators. They've been doing it for a long time. Go look at their first video. And it's them doing a talent show when they were teens singing We've Got the Beat by the Go-Go's. I mean, they do music now, but they're not like doing cover songs. They're not playing covers of bands from the 80s. They're, doing slice of life stuff. But the point there is, figure out what you want to create first and figure out what you're passionate about, and then just start doing it. And eventually you'll find your rhythm, you'll find your goal, and you see where it goes. So to me, that's the first step to making money as a creator, is to figure out what you can create that you're passionate about, that you love, and that you can keep doing. And then hopefully you can find a way to make money on that.
You know a lot of very successful creators, like the outliers. What do you think they have in common? Is it that they're passionate about it? And what else?
I think that they're passionate about it. They really like what they're doing, but they just keep doing it, right? So like even Jimmy Donaldson spent a couple years doing video before anybody started watching. And the Merrill twins, they were making video in their teens, and they just kept at it.
Yeah. Mr. Beast, who has an incredible story. Mr. Beast.
Yes, some creators do it and all of a sudden it hits and takes off, but just because it takes off once or twice or three times doesn't mean you're going to be able to do it consistently. And consistency and doing it consistently is one of the secrets of making it as a creator.
Mm-hmm. What about being entrepreneurial? How important is that? And how important is it to be authentic? I know, obviously, these are both important.
So entrepreneurial is really important if you want to build a business out of it. You've got to think like a business person, or you've got to be great at creating content and know how to bring in other people who can help you build a business.
Yeah, for example. Do you know any examples of people that you know firsthand?
I'm going to take another high-level creator right now. Look at someone like Darman, right? Like Darman is an amazing creator. He's very inspirational. He does all this great content. But he realized that to build a big business, he could only take it so far. And then he brought in Sean Atkins to run the business for him and to be his president, and to build his studio and be his CEO. And that's an example of someone who's like, know your limitations. If you create and you build an audience, be like, how do I monetize this audience? There are people that can help you.
You mentioned also on another podcast how you can increase your return per fan. So this is important to think about, is what's your RPV, your return per fan, RPF, or whatever. I don't know what the actual number is, but the idea there is, look, first of all, as you start to become a creator, you will end up, if you do a good job and people like it and the algorithm finds it and serves it to people and they like it, a lot of people will watch. Maybe some fraction of them will subscribe or follow or whatever the metric is on the platform that you're on. A much smaller fraction of them will actually be really like you and will want to see everything you do and will follow you anywhere or almost anywhere. They'll watch, 8 out of 10 of your videos. They'll be excited when they see the next video pop up or the next podcast or whatever. And so if you think of all of your fans, like you can define your fans in many different ways. Some of your fans are like, who are my true fans? Who are the fans that love me so much that they would, they're my brand ambassadors. They tell their friends about it. They would, if I did a live show, they'd come see the live show. Those, your true fans, your real, those are sort of the core of what you do. And then there are the people who may have subscribed, and it's, subscribe or comment or follow or whatever. That's a good number of people who are like that that includes your core fans, but it's a lot of your sort of like everyday, like, okay, well, I like their stuff. Sure. I like it enough to hit the button to subscribe. So I see stuff, but I'm not a core fan. They could become a core fan, and converting them from being like just a lackadaisical fan to a core fan is really important. But take the amount of money you make in a month or in a year. Let's say you make $1,000 a month and you've got 100,000 fans. And your fans, not subscribers.
Well, it depends on how you define fans. Fans could be subscribers because look, you don't get a lot of metrics from these platforms. Subscribers, followers, that. So you got to start with that number. I can't tell you how many of your subscribers are your, top fans, your net promoters, your brand ambassadors, whatever term you want to use. Some percentage, probably only 1% or less. Like, don't worry if it's not a lot of them. But so take your subscribers, right? You got 100,000 subscribers, $1,000. That's your return per subscriber, right? So if you get $1 a month per subscriber, that's great. If you have 1,000 subscribers and you get $1 a month per subscriber, you're making $1,000 a month. Great. If you grow your subscribers and the money that you make from your subscribers increases linearly, that's awesome. Because if you're making $1,000 from $100 from 1,000 subscribers, and then it's 2,000 subscribers, you're making 200, 3,000, et cetera. That's great. You're on a good path. If you're making $1,000 from 100 subscribers, and you add 100 more subscribers, and you're still making $1,000, you're not adding the right subscribers, or it takes longer to convert them to people who would actually pay you.
And if someone is not seeing that return, from your experience working with dozens, hundreds, or thousands of creators, what do you think they might be doing wrong?
You built a channel. You've got a bunch of subscribers. You've got people that come back. They're commenting. You're reaching a group of people that are passionate about what you do at some level. Well, so at that point, try to find out who's really passionate about you. So there are some ways to do that. Like there's some software tools out there, like Superfans is one of them, that will go into your comments. It'll figure out and help you figure out who your top followers and fans are. You can ask them. Like I do this in my newsletter. I'll pop a survey in every now and then and say, hey, you like this, blah, blah. And then at the end of the survey, I'll be like, hey, can I contact you for more information? Anybody who gives me an email and says, yes, you can contact me, they're probably a big fan. But then take advantage of it. Be like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make money. And can I talk to you for 10 minutes? And if they're giving you their email and they've done your survey, probably they'll let you talk to them. Then you talk to them and be like, hey, I love doing this. Hope you like my content. I'm thinking about ways that I can make money. Are there things that I could do that you'd pay for? And they might be like, yeah, come have coffee with me. Or, which if that's the case, maybe there's a Cameo or another way that you can do, another way that you can do one-on-one conversations with your fans. Maybe they'd pay you $20 for a 15-minute conversation. There are platforms that let you do that. Or maybe they'll say, oh, you know what? You're this type of creator. I love that backpack that you just showed off because you're an outdoor creator. I'd love to have a backpack that you like, and I'd buy that. Maybe like, well, maybe I should make a line of backpacks. I mean, obviously don't do that just for one person, but, so I think the main thing is, don't be afraid of your fans. Don't be afraid of your viewers. For the ones that really like you, they'll spend time with you and tell you what they like and what they don't like and how you might be able to make money off people like them. And I see this, like I used to do television, right? And so I ran and produced television and was in front of the camera. And most TV professionals, most people in front of the camera are afraid of their fans. They spend all this time to keep the fans away from them, right? So they've got agents and managers and, they drive around, they're like, they in dark cars and they get out and they run into the hotel. And those are people afraid of their fans. Most of the YouTubers I know and the video creators, they may be a little bit like, I'm like more of an introvert than extrovert, but they love their fans because their fans got them there. So I remember we used to work with Phil DeFranco at one of the companies I was running, and walking down the street with Phil, and somebody would come up, it's like, oh, you're Phil DeFranco, oh my God, and Phil wouldn't be like, yeah, I am, let's get out of here. He'd be like, he'd sit down and talk with him, just start, because he realized that's how I got there. Like near my house, I was on a hiking trail recently, like a year or two ago with Nasir Nas Daily with Nasir, and this trail is pretty empty, and family walked by, we're like, hi, and one of the kids said, you're Nas Daily, right? One of the little kids, you're like, yes, I started talking to them. And like, that's how and like, you have to have that sense of, I want to talk to my fans and I want to see them, and they'll tell you. Like if you're doing it and you've got people that like your stuff, but you're not making any money, don't just keep throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. Talk to your fans about it. Yeah. Talk to those people. They'll talk to you. They can't wait to talk to you.
I got recognized by someone recently, and we were in Toronto at an event, and the guy came in, hey, do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, I have a podcast called the Canadian Dream Podcast, yep. Almost 30,000 followers. Man, your podcast helped me so much. I learned so much, blah, 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 blah. Oh, great. And I'm totally not used to it.
Okay, so what I want to know though, did you close the loop after that? You're like, oh, really? You like it that much? Hey, can we connect on LinkedIn? Because I'd love to ask you some questions about what you liked and what you didn't. Because I'm thinking of
No, but
doing this
now I
new
will.
stuff.
Next time I will.
Seriously, if someone walks up, that's a signal.
No, but
Every
yeah.
time, like I have a newsletter with about 30,000 subscribers, right? Every time someone's come up and says, oh, I love your newsletter. This is great. I'm like, let's connect on LinkedIn. A, because I want to connect with them, but B, because then I know that like I may be able to get back to them in the future and then like I can put something out. And so plus it validates them. And they'll be like, oh my God, I love you more because you said that. I mean, it could have been creepy,
I appreciate that this guy, he said, hey, you should put events together. Events, because you can inspire so many people. They will come for a full day event. And I was thinking about it.
So this is your super fan. If you were connected to him in Toronto, then you get back to him and say, I love your fan idea. Do you think you could find 10 friends to come? And if he says yes, then you're like, cool, let's start something. It doesn't have to be big. All you got to do, and I just started doing this with Inside the Creator Economy, my newsletter, all you have to do is next time you're in Toronto, find a bar, a restaurant, I don't know, whatever it is, and just be like, hey, Bill, you said you'd have 10 friends to come. I'm going to do a meetup. I'm going to put it out here and we're just going to get together at this place and hang out and have a beer or have a soda or, go for a walk or be in the park. And say, hey, can you ask your friends to come? And I'm going to put it on the podcast. Hopefully other people will. And just see what happens. It doesn't cost you anything. You're there. You're not buying them drinks. You can do it in the park.
Just to see if they show up.
Just say, come on, we're going to spend an hour and hang out.
Uh-huh.
Why not? I did that. So you were at Web Summit, right? My first Web Summit, I was out there and I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm just going to do a meetup. I'm going to put it in my newsletter. I had no idea who was going to come. No idea. And I'm like, I'm going to be at this bar. I'm going to be having a drink. It's overlooking Lisbon. Y'all just come join me if you want. I had like 30 people show up. I had a couple of people from Africa show up. And I was like, holy crap, there's something going on here. And through it, I met like some folks that at Influencers Club that I still work with and other good friends. So it's like, just put yourself out there. When someone leans in, that person is gold to you. Go find them.
Yeah. Jim, you know so many creators and for so long too. It's not just the quantity, but also the time that you have spent with those people and knowing them like firsthand. What are the mistakes that you see people making that, they're either not getting there or they're not reaching their full potential? They could do so much more.
So the one big mistake I see a lot of creators do is thinking that they can do everything and they know everything and not delegating and finding people like not finding a good editor and letting them be a good editor, not finding a good business person and letting them do that. So a lot of creators started early, 15, 16, 17, 18. They never worked for anybody else. They never had a mentor teach them how to manage. And so they bring people in to work for them and they're like frustrated that they can't do what they want. Like they don't communicate with, you would think like creators communicate so well through the camera, but they don't communicate with other people that well sometimes. And so it's very difficult for them to let go because the early part of creating, you control everything. But if you want to grow, you got to let go. So what are you not good at? You got to be clear with yourself. What are you not good at? Maybe you're not good at editing, or there could be a better editor. I mean, so many times I've heard creators say, oh my God, I hired an editor and it changed my life. Because suddenly all this time I was spending editing and I didn't really like it that much, somebody else did, and they're better at it than me. And now I can do so much more. So that's amazing.
Yeah. We had that conversation at NAB. I mean, I was watching a conversation. Was it, I think, LR or L, who was?
Oh, RJ Larice.
Yes, it's RJ. Yeah, we were talking about this as well. Like sometimes they also have their cousin helping them out, or it's their brother. And there's a point where you have to let go.
Yeah, you got to let go of that too. Finding out the people that are holding you back is another big thing. I mean, but think about it with sports stars, right? Think about, I don't know, whether it's hockey or whatever sports, it's like, sometimes you'll see a big player come in. It's like, oh, who's your manager negotiating that deal? This is my brother or it's my cousin. And he ends up with a deal that's like, leaves all this money on the table. Everything is like, oh, and then, eventually like, yeah, I fired my cousin and I brought in a professional agent and now I'm making like 10 times what I was making.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that plays out in many different forms of media and celebrity and other things. But, and look, by the way, sometimes your manager and the person you grew up with is amazing. Like there is a creator, Crazy XYZ in India, and he tells a great story. He and his it was his friend, Chitrench Jan, and is now like his manager. But the two of them, like their story is really interesting because it was like they were friends a little bit and then not, but he came in and really they bonded and have built a great business together. And so sometimes that happens. And he's like 30, 40, 50 million in India. He's huge in India. But just the connection that they had and the way they built it up, and they're still friends, but they built a great business because Amit, Crazy XYZ, was able to, know what he didn't know how to do and give it over to his friend who was really good at it. Another mistake is not being consistent. So put a video out there, and then a year later, you put another video out. Or you're like, I'm going to do it every week, and then you take 6 months off. So I've seen creators just basically, like, they're great, they're on the upward trajectory, and they stop. Now, there are a lot of reasons to stop, a lot of mental health reasons and others. But when you start creating and you set yourself a schedule, make sure that you think about ways to take a break, but still be able to fill the pipeline. So Mark, a great creator, has been doing it 13 years. He banks his content, and he just had a baby. And he's like, I'm having a baby. I'm not going to be traveling. I can't go out to Africa and find like some weird animal. I can't go here or there. But I have all this content that I've banked so that I can do this thing and then come back in. Also, it depends on the platform. So LinkedIn, where I create, they don't really want you to do more than a post a day. And TikTok, Snap, TikTok, they want you to do, and Instagram, if you're doing stories, like lots of posts a day. So think about what the platform expects as well, but also your audience. And that's another thing. When you run into that guy on the street in Toronto, say, hey, look, I'm doing my podcast once a week. I'm thinking of going twice a week. What do you think? And they might be like, no, once a week's enough. I mean, not take it the wrong way.
Or like,
yeah, you can do it every day and I'd listen to you.
Once a day at 7 a.m.
And remember, it's just a focus group of one, but it's a signal. It's directional. It's not, it hasn't told you what to do. It's just giving you a direction to explore.
Jim, is there any other mistake that comes up in your mind that you want to mention?
Another mistake is not understanding taxes. So let's say you're a creator, you're going up, you're doing brand deals, you're getting $10,000 a brand deal. You kind of all of a sudden in a year, you make $150,000. You're like, man, I'm living the good life. Well, you know what? Did you think about taxes? Did you hire an accountant? Because that $150,000, depending on what country you're in and where you are, you got to pay some to the government, you got to pay some to the state, you got to do this, you got to do that. So not understanding taxes and then realizing at the end of the year that you need to pay a third of that in taxes and you spent it all on wine, women, and song, that's a problem.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Tell me one more thing. You clarified on another podcast that you are not a creator, but you created a platform for YouTubers, like you created a community for creators. Why don't you consider yourself a creator? Why did you never start becoming a YouTuber?
Wait. Hold on a minute. I don't know how old that podcast was. I am a creator now. I call myself an accidental creator in many ways.
How do you see yourself? Are you a creator? Are you a writer?
I'm a creator. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist. I'm whatever. I don't know what you call it, but I create. And the thing is, I worked in magazines. I worked in television. I worked in, I built YouTube networks. And I was still writing, but basically what I was doing was building companies, or I was, building this or building that.
Yeah, it feels like being a CEO was your hobby. I saw a CEO here, CEO there, CEO there.
But what's happened since I left Viacom almost 3 years ago is I'd started this little newsletter, running VidCon, trying to get people to come watch the digital stuff we were doing during COVID. And it was like something like similar to a newsletter that I built when I was editor-in-chief of PC Magazine. Just a couple news stories of the day, so people would open it and not just be like, "Oh, it's another another email from VidCon, trash." And LinkedIn suddenly started a newsletter platform about a month or two after I started that. So I'm like, I'm just going to shove it on my LinkedIn profile. And the reason why I had 12,000 followers on LinkedIn was because I was lucky. I was at PC Magazine when Reid Hoffman first took LinkedIn out and started showing it to the press. And so I saw it. I'm like, I'm signing up for LinkedIn right now. And then a friend of mine was like, okay, on LinkedIn, just accept everybody. It's your business platform. I'm like, okay. So everybody who sent me a request, I'm like, friend. So, here we are 15 years later or whatever. And I've got like 12,000 friends. It was even before followers. And so I shoved it on there and people started reading it. And then when I left Viacom, Paramount, whatever, 2.5 years ago, I kept my newsletter on LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn, even if somebody builds your LinkedIn for you, let's say you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and you've got a whole team of communications, of comms people and PR people, and they build up your LinkedIn for you, and now you're the CEO of big megacorp monolith, and you've got 100,000 followers of your LinkedIn, and then the board kicks you out, and suddenly you're on the street, you don't have a job at all. You know what you still have? Your LinkedIn with 100,000 followers. They don't get to keep that. They've tried. Companies will try to keep the LinkedIn for the CEOs that they fire or for the execs that they fire, but they can't because it belongs to the person. So I kept it, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep the newsletter going because I've been doing it for, 2 years, and people like it. And so like I said, I'm an accidental creator because I did that. And then I was like, oh, well, I could, and then LinkedIn was like, you want to be one of our top voice creator people? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's do it. And, video came out, so I started doing video. So I'm a total accident, but I'm a creator now. But I have like 42,000 followers on LinkedIn, which, by the way, a follower on LinkedIn, not to toot my own horn, but a follower on LinkedIn is worth like 10 or 15 or 20 followers on other platforms because it's a B2B platform. And people pay more to reach business people than they do to reach average consumers. So I got about 42,000 there. I've got Twitter or X or whatever. I still have 17,000 followers on X or Twitter, or 16, because in the early days of X, I was at Revision 3, and some of the early people on Twitter were part of Revision 3, and just by osmosis, I got them. And not that I did anything on it. And 5K over on Facebook and 3K on Instagram, etc. It adds up. So I'm not a big creator, but when it comes to B2B, I'm a decent sized creator.
But that was my question. So you being around so many, let's say, video creators, YouTubers, okay? Being around so many, you know how to talk. And you know a lot of things that you could talk about. Why are you not a YouTuber?
Because YouTube's too hard.
Is it?
Because you got to know how to edit, you got to do that, you got to play the game, you got to do long form. I could do it. But look, you know what I'm better at? I'm better at live. I'm better at just going and talking. That's why I like doing live events, right? Live events are great. And the patience of being a YouTuber, I've got to script it out, and I've got to storyboard it, and then I got to make it do this, and I got to make it do that, and I got to edit it, I got to put it up there, I got to figure out the algorithm, I got to figure out the headlines. I could hire people to do that. If I had a lot of money to hire a producer and this and that, I could do it. But, I started out as a writer about computer stuff. Actually, if you go back to 1992 on YouTube, you'll see the video of me. I was probably the first person to do video reviews of tech products and unboxings, sort of. It's there from the Personal Computing Show, 1993, I think. Just search for my name in the Personal Computing Show and you'll see it. But I could have done that and gone into TV and tried to be a host. And it's like, no, you know what? I don't have the patience for it. And I don't want to do it. I just want to do the things I want to do. And for me, it's writing. For me, it's news. I like doing little short videos. I shot some video today down at Web Summit of a couple cool companies. I'm going to stitch it all together in Descript, which is a really easy editor. Boom, boom, done, post it. I don't care. You have to for YouTube, I think, to be successful these days, you've got to craft either a fine short or a fine video and have it really have that open that grabs you and the end and this and that. And it's like, you know what? It's not important to me. I have a YouTube channel. I have about 70 followers, subscribers, but it was just never a game that was really for me. For me, it's LinkedIn. I'm going to finish this for you. So one of the things that you talked a lot about, mistakes that people make. One of the mistakes, find your platform. A lot of people are creating for the wrong platform. Maybe they shouldn't be on YouTube. Maybe they should be on LinkedIn. Maybe they shouldn't be on TikTok. Maybe they should be on Twitch. So find your platform. And even if it's not a big platform, if you like it and it works the way you work, go with that platform.
So 2 questions about the creator economy, your newsletter. What is your process like? And what is your goal with the newsletter?
So inside the creator economy, I write it. It goes out every Monday around 7 a.m. Pacific time. Process generally, and by the way, we're recording this on Friday. You're taking me away from my process. I'm up here for a Web Summit, so it's not a process week. All week, I like everybody else, I read stuff that's going on, find stories. If I see a story that's interesting, I either put it in OneNote, Or if I'm on mobile, I'll pop it in WhatsApp. I'll WhatsApp it to myself. And then on Thursday or Friday, I'll sit down with all that. I've got a bunch of sources that I follow. I've got I still use an RSS reader called Feedly that does that and just keeps track of things. And I'll start reading and I'll be like, okay, these are the cool stories. I'll pop them in. You know, I always have my shell of my newsletter each week open as a Word file, pop the stories in. And then the ones that I'm really passionate about, I'm like, oh my God, I want to write about this. And I can do a paragraph or 2 or 3 about it. And so generally on Friday, I'll go through all that stuff. I'll create the shell of it. I might think about a cover graphic, and then either Friday or maybe Saturday morning, I'll put it all together and put it into the different platforms I use. Because I'm on Beehive, I'm on LinkedIn, and my own personal blog, louderback.com, which I've had for 25 years. So I'll produce it and get it all ready to go. So that's the general process. And the reason why, what I want to get out of it, and why I've kept on doing it, is because, you know, I had like big jobs. I mean, I built companies and sold them, and it was like big media companies. And when you leave a job like that, all of a sudden it's like you're all on your own. And I wanted to keep, I wanted to keep track of everything that was going on. So it forces me to know what's happening, which is nice. But 2, it keeps my brand out there. It keeps me in front of people as an expert and as one of the people who's like there front and center in the space. And so, yes, I have a sponsor. I've had sponsors for a while, but it's not that important because for me, it helps me as I work with companies that might want to work with me, as I like do events around the world in the building industry creator economy events and helping people do it. So it is a calling card and a brand builder as much as it's a money maker in and of itself.
It sounds so human. You do it all by yourself. I thought maybe you can just copy paste and throw everything on ChatGPT, find 5 topics and write down 5 stories for me for my newsletter. No, you don't do that.
No, not at all. No, I used to do it all myself and not use AI at all. Now what I do though is, because AI has gotten good enough, is if I'm struggling with a sentence, right? And I'm like, oh, I want to word this and I can't really figure out how to do it. I'll take what I've written, which is way too wordy, and I'll be like, hey, I've given ChatGPT a bunch of versions of my newsletter, so it knows my voice, my tone, what I like to do. And I'm like, hey, can you rewrite this 5 or 10 times for me, just in, you know, clearer, better, shrunk and white, less letters and words. And it comes up with a bunch of examples. Sometimes I'll like, that's exactly it. But most of the time it's like, I'll take those 2 words and those 3 words and those 7 words, and then I'll put my own words in. So that's really all I use AI for now, is when I'm struggling with that. And then at the end, because it's always nice to have a copy editor, I'll shove the whole thing in. It's like, don't rewrite anything, but just tell me where the grammatical mistakes are, or my punctuation or spelling. And they'll come back and do that. And I'm like, boom, 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 I'm done. But, you know, we can talk about AI all day long too, but in as much as I can have someone have another set of eyes on it, it's great.
Yeah. So Jim, no, let's talk about AI. But I know we can talk about it for a week. Think about everything that has happened, let's say in the past 2 years. What is the most meaningful change that has happened because of AI?
The most meaningful change because of AI is that suddenly, like, think about YouTube. YouTube, we democratized distribution, right? You didn't have to have a gatekeeper say, I'm going to make you a star, buddy, and put you on TV or put you in a movie. With YouTube and with the online video world that happened about 20 years ago, anybody anywhere could do that. They create a channel and suddenly they could do it. They could build it. What AI is the most important thing that I think has happened with AI over the last 2 years, and that will continue to happen, is we're democratizing creation. So now anybody can be a creator who wasn't very good before. Remember I was talking about YouTube before. I was like, oh man, I gotta do all that. I was like, I do this and that. It's a lot of work. Well, AI tools now let you make it easier to edit. And you can clip it up with Opus. You can do all these things with AI, so that you can even take bad audio and turn it into good audio. And
it writes the script for you.
Yeah, well, it could write the script for you. It could pull out the transcript, so you can put that up, so you can help with search. So to me, the ability I think we're going to see another, I don't know, 500 million creators come in and be creators, because now they can, because AI makes it easier for them. But the also really interesting thing is, and this is just starting to happen, is we're seeing full AI told stories that don't have humans involved in, you know, in being in front of the camera and speaking and doing that. They're AI stories. And there was a video that came out maybe 2 weeks ago called "Pug Saves a Baby from an Airplane Crash." And it's about a minute long. It's got 450 million views on Shorts, and it's all generated by AI. It's, somebody put it together and edited it, but it's basically all AI, right? And there's no humans. There are no humans in the camera. There's no voice. There's no nothing. Nobody's drawing out the frames to do it. And we're going to see so much more of that. And so AI is both a blessing and a curse because it allows you to create and do things like I can be a creator and make video where before I'd have to hire somebody and I'm like, nah, I don't have time for that. But it's going to take up so much time. People will spend more time watching AI as more and more AI generated content gets up there. And we right now we've run out of time when it comes to media. So like in the old days of like radio and TV, it's like we used to do other things, but pretty much every hour of our lives now where we can consume media, we are consuming media. We're on our phones. We're like, even the point now we're consuming not just one medium at a time, but we're doing two. So we watch TV and we're on our phones. We're doing this, we're doing that. So what that means is that it's now a zero-sum game. So every time somebody watches an completely AI video on YouTube, that's a minute that they're not spending watching a human-generated video on YouTube. So because the amount of time that we can spend to consume content is finite, if 30% of the videos viewed tomorrow on YouTube were AI generated, that means that 30% of the videos that people used to watch for human creators no longer exist. In other words, 30% of creators overall will be disrupted by AI.
And how do you stand out if you don't want to be disrupted, if you want to survive?
By figuring out what makes you human, by figuring out what is the human aspect of video and what you're really good at and what AI can't do.
Mm-hmm. And what are we really good at, we as humans?
Well, we're good at making mistakes. I mean, yes, AI hallucinates, but at the point where you're gonna have like the perfect video, it's like, well, if I go in there and I'm like fumble or don't say anything or my camera overheats, I'm like, wait a minute, we gotta fix the camera. AI won't do that. Also live. Eventually it will, but it's hard to go live and to be live and be truly there. And it's another reason why I love live events, because AI is not going to get up and host a conversation at Web Summit, maybe one or two for the novelty aspect of it, but you're not going to have an AI moderator interviewing a CEO anytime in the near future. So anyway, what's uniquely human? What makes you human? I even on my newsletter, just like I'll leave grammatical mistakes in and a misspelling every now and then, just so people know it's really me writing it.
Well, is there or has there ever been a golden era or let's say a peak for content creators, or are we living right now?
Oh, I think it's a golden age right now.
It is.
With more and more people coming online and the tools to let creators. Now, look, the gatekeepers wanted to control access to media, right? Only our 3 channels and only who we say is good to get on, and then anybody could do it. And that's a golden age because you didn't need to be given permission to do it. Now, not everybody in the world, but a large percentage of people in the world have a phone, they have a screen, they have an internet connection. So you can reach so many different people in the world with a single piece of content. That's a golden age right there. And as AI starts to take over and becomes forefront, it's also a golden age. It just means that it's a different golden age. So you may be able to work with the AI and construct it so that it tells stories and generates it so quickly that you could do an individual story that you're trying to tell, customized for every human being on the planet, which would be amazing. Or you could set it up where, you could basically create or like create a digital twin of yourself, create an AI agent. Like we're going to create an AI Elton that's always with you and always over your shoulder for that poor guy in Toronto. And he's always hanging out with him. Like you're just going to be so sick of you because you're there all the time. But you could do that at scale around the world. Everybody gets their own Elton. That's a golden age.
So who are the big winners and the big losers in the future as AI continues to take over?
The losers are the people that don't figure out what makes them human and what they're good at, and look at the things that AI is really good at. It's pretty good at being a low-level editor, which is a problem if you're a low-level editor. So upskill yourself or go out and figure other ways to edit and put videos together. For a while, AI is your partner, it's your creative partner, it's your editing partner, it's a lot of those things. The winners are the people who are going to be able to figure out how to take advantage of it to promote what they're doing. So perfect example. I've been writing and thinking a lot about search engines. And Google which is the search engine, right? At 80% of the search market share or whatever. They own advertising. Well, guess what AI is doing? AI, turns out, is a better search engine for a lot of things. And, you go in and you be like, oh my God, how do I change my light bulb? And, you get 27 ads in Google about light bulbs that you should buy or electricians that you should hire before you figure out, unscrew it, drop it, take another one and screw it in. But on AI, if you say AI, hey, AI, how do I change my light bulb? And AI is like, it'll tell you right away. And soon it'll probably be able to create a video of it happening for you, just for you. And it'll say, well, what kind of light do you have? It's like, oh, it's a ceiling light. It's, let me take a picture of it. Click. I was like, oh, that's a Honeywell X84322B. Here's what you need to do. You got to get this. Oh, this is the best light I'm going to order. It'll be Amazon. Will be here tomorrow. And then what you do is you got to take it, but make sure you have a ladder. And then here's how you do it. You push it and squeeze it and turn it. And here's a video of that happening. And it looks like your light in your house happening. And you're like, I can do that. So who gets disrupted there? Well, the people who teach you how to change light bulbs. It's a really bad example, but I'm going to keep going with it because there really aren't any. But the people that help you change light bulbs, but they do it with their own, like, I'm thinking about like a plumber, right? It's like, I'm going to teach you how to fix your sink, but it's the ones who are like, well, I'm just using this sink, but your sink looks nothing like my sink and your drains look nothing like my drains. But if I watch this, I think I can figure out how to do it. It's like, no, you're going to be able to create a video of my drain and somebody cleaning it and how they do it or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so the winners in many ways are the people who figure out how to get their videos and their content into this new form of search. Google just put an AI mode on every search engine results page, every search page. All the way on the left is AI mode. So if you search for like, how do I fix the clog in my toilet? That's a better example. I should have gone with that. How do I fix the clog in my toilet? And it'll give you the results. It'll give you 27 plumbers that you could call. But then over on the left is AI mode. Click that. I'll be like, here's how you do it. And that's a much better result. But if it says, here's how to do it, here's the products you should buy, here are the things that are important, it's doing that by finding trust and finding out what's out there and then giving you that. So how do you become a trusted source? And that's very different from, keyword loading and making sure the right topics when you put the text up there. And so the people that are figuring that out and getting themselves into those trusted set of responses for the queries that are most often done to AI search are the ones who are going to win, and they're going to win big and they're going to win soon. So figuring out how to do that now, text and video, and we're starting to see video being incorporated in search engine results for AI search. We're also going to start to see multimodal search where it's searching not just for text, but text and video and other things, multi-mode, multi-formats, bringing it in, serving it up to you that way. Can you be the one who your product, your service, your video, your audio ends up being the trusted source that AI recommends more often than not for the queries that it answers most often? If you can figure that out, you're going to make a boatload of money and get a lot of views.
What do you think is happening to Hollywood and the legacy media in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
YouTube is now the everything video, right? So it's on TV.
And X.
Well, yeah, but it's all over the place. I think legacy media will continue to exist. It's starting to embrace creators. Look, we had Peak TV. Remember Peak TV from 2 years ago? All these people made TV shows because we were all home during COVID, and then now we're all out doing stuff and on our phones, and nobody's watching TV anymore. I mean, they are, but they're watching YouTube and all these different formats. But YouTube is now leaning into creators, and now traditional TV is going like, well, we want not only do we want to put Mr. Beast in a video, we want to produce for us. We want all of these folks to produce stuff for us rather than just saying, oh, you're going to show up in my video shows. And so we're going to reach a point where we have peak creator TV, and then that's going to crash. I think it's an interesting question because a lot of traditional video media, Hollywood and TV, is predicated on the television being the best screen in the house, the best screen in your life. But guess what? Around the world, most parts of the world, what you have in your pocket is the best screen in your life. So the videos that are created and optimized for this, the way we do it and hold it, there's so many interesting things happening there. So micro dramas, right? Those micro dramas, Drama Fever, I think some others, Real Short, taking off. They're making so much money in certain parts of the world where people consume with this. But you go look at YouTube. What's YouTube focused on these days? That screen. So there's a lot of opportunity to engage people with video content here. And then, you know what? This is going away. And we're going to end up with other media. And so it might be the glasses that you have, which Apple's going to come up with glasses. And so if that's the case, I want a Pokemon with me at all times that gives me advice. I want Mimikyu, but it might be Snorlax, depending on how tired I am. But the other thing is, it's like, okay, I'm walking into I'm at Web Summit. I'm walking around. I'm like, oh, do I know you? And up on my glasses comes, you went to high school together, dumbass. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So those sorts of things and ways to engage are going to be really interesting. If there is a world, I'm not saying it's our world, but there's a world where the Sphere, which is this amazing immersive experience for 18,000 people, gets to the point where every one of our houses, instead of our media room or our home theater, we have a home Sphere where we can sit and have these engaging, interactive, like experiential stuff 360 with our families, our friends, or ourselves. So we're going to see new forms of media develop. We're not done making media. There are going to be different forms in different ways. You look at like OpenAI, they just gave $6 billion worth of their stock to Johnny Ive, who invented the iPhone, to start building devices for AI that are unobtrusive, that don't have a screen, that interact in different ways, that do different things. I don't know what they're going to be. I'm going to buy one, I'm sure. But there's so many interesting new ways that media is going to develop. So to say like, oh, winners, losers, this and that, I don't know what they are, but I know that they're going to be really, really fun and interesting and engaging. And
so, Jim, what are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to having AI help me even more, so that, like, I just shot a bunch of video at Web Summit today. I want AI to be like, okay, we're just going to take all those takes you did. We're going to take the best shots. We're going to edit it up. We're going to put it in. We're going to do some CapCut stuff. This is the TikTok one. This is the Shorts one. This is the one you put on LinkedIn, and you're done. I'm like, good. Thank you, God, because I don't want to do all that editing myself. So I'm looking forward to that. You know what? I'm looking forward to going to France in a week. And I did this as an experiment. I said, oh, hey, ChatGPT, I'm going here. What should I do? Where should I go? Where should I eat? And it gave me a whole list of things. And I'm not following it slavishly, but I'm like, okay, it told me what side of the train to sit on. It told me this. So I'm going to go on a little bit of a like adventure planned by me, but also planned by ChatGPT, and see how it does.
Jim, you do so many things too. You're all over the place. How do you have any tips or anything that you follow? Any principles that you follow to manage your time?
I'd say one is just get a lot of sleep. Like I go to sleep.
How do you do that?
I go to sleep around the same time. I wake up around the same time. Just get on a schedule. Your body likes schedules as well. You got to say no. You got to learn how to say no a lot. Like
I'm so glad you're here.
Right. Well, people say, well, you do this.
Yes.
I'm like, no. Or you know what? Call me in 2 months. So it's hard. I mean, I have trouble saying no too, but I say no a lot. Figure out the people you want to work with, figure out the things you want to do, and figure out the people you don't want to work with and the things you don't want to do. And in life, try and move the balance, move the needle a little bit more towards the people and the things and away from the things that you don't like and the people you don't like. I know it's hard to do, and there's toxicity everywhere. We all have to do things we don't like. But if you can move the needle a little percentage every year, every month, whatever, you'll get closer to being in a better space. And so that's what I've tried to do.
Yeah, I love it. Where can people find you?
Find me on LinkedIn.
Jim Louderback.
Jim Louderback. And it's actually JLOUDERB. So first letter of my first name and first seven characters of my last name. That's my handle everywhere. So on LinkedIn, subscribe to my newsletter, Inside the Creator Economy. It's also on Beehive. Prefer you do it on Beehive because then I have your email address and you're like a known user to me, and I can get in touch with you. Versus LinkedIn, which is, I'm building on their land. But that's how you can find me everywhere. Yeah, my website, louderback.com, lastname.com. I've had it up for 25 years, and I dump most of my stuff up there too. I say dump, but it's all out there.
Thank you so much, Jim. Before you stand up, looking at that camera, one piece of advice for anybody who is dreaming of becoming a content creator today.
Just get started. Your first video, your first whatever you do, it's not going to be your best. It's okay. Just do it, get started, get a routine, put it out there, and start getting feedback. Because remember, we talked about this. Like, go to any YouTuber or any creator that you like, look at their first video. If you're worried about it, their first video, is usually pretty cringy, or they've already taken it down, but a lot of creators have kept it up. Don't worry about your first video. Don't worry about your first 100 videos. Just do it, be passionate about it, put it up there. You'll learn, you'll figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you like, what you don't like, and be consistent. I know you said 1 and I just did like 3, but anyway.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if you enjoyed this, remember to subscribe to like this video, to share with whoever you want, and go follow Jim and read his newsletter right now. See you on the next episode.